What's up guys, Kyle here again, and today, what am I doing? We are checking out the Quebec pDEQ pedal from Guptech, and it is one of the most useful pedals I have ever used. Let's do it! Alright guys, hope you're doing great out there today. If this is your first time here at my channel, my name is Kyle, and what I do is wave my hands a lot and scream at the camera, because that's apparently what I'm doing today. I also take awesome high gain amps, guitars, cabs, speakers, pickups, overdrives, and pedals. I record them with a simple SM57 setup, and I give you guys the unprocessed audio on your end. So if you're into E-standard thrash riffs, drop C hardcore riffs, and dudes who do exactly what I just said, you're in the right place. Consider hitting the like button on your way out and subscribing so you don't miss any more of my stuff. Thanks! Alright guys, so today we have a new company on the channel. This is the first time that I have ever worked with Guptech, and Guptech is a company that is based out of Canada. And what Guptech does is they make a lot of really cool, unique pedals for your guitar amplifiers. I have never personally tried any of their products before, but what I have noticed is they seem to interact with their fan base and the guitar community in general very well. They seem to listen to what it is that people want from them, and they make pedals that people are actually asking for. So when I saw this pedal pop up on Sonic Drive Studios channel, which if you're not subscribed to Sonic Drive Studios, John is awesome and you should definitely do that. I quite literally immediately found Guptech on Instagram and asked them if they would want to send one out for me to check out. So not only did they send me one for me to make a video of for you guys, but they also sent me a second one to give away. So stick around to the end of the video because we're gonna give one of these away and I'm gonna tell you how you can get in on it. All right guys, so I am ranting and raving already in this video, but truly, this pedal is something that I've wanted for years. There is another pedal that does this, but it's essentially been unavailable for a long time, and even when it was kind of hard to get in stock. So what we are looking at here today is the Quebec pedal, and what this is a pedal that you put in the loop of your guitar amplifier, whether it be solid state, tube, hybrid, it doesn't matter. When you put this in the loop of the amp, you gain the ability to have depth and presence controls on amps that did not previously have them. Now, does it work exactly like the depth and presence controls on something like, say, a Peavey 5150 or a Soldano SLO 100? No, because it's not tapped into the negative feedback circuit of the power amp, as that's how those are designed on those amps. But what this does is it essentially emulates having a depth and presence control in between the preamp and the power amp of the amp that you're putting it into. And I've got to say, it does a really good job at doing so. Now, over the years, I have owned a lot of amps where basically I felt like it made or break, it was a make or break type thing to have depth and presence controls. So take something like, say, the Mesa Boogie Stiletto. That amp did not have enough low end for me. It just didn't have any low end punch. And the presence control on that amp was also placed in a frequency that I found really unpleasant. So essentially, had I have owned this pedal and been able to throw it in the loop of the Stiletto, there's a good chance that I would have liked it a lot more, because this thing can add a massive low end punch if your amp is lacking it, and it also adds presence in what I feel are the right frequencies. Not only that, it's foot switchable, but it also has these switches here, so if you only want the depth portion of the pedal to be on, you just have that switch flipped up. If you only want the presence to be on, flip that switch up. You can take the depth out if you like by flipping the switch down. Same with the presence, so it's not like it's in the circuit and if you don't like the way that the presence is reacting with the amp, you can't turn it off. No, you can. You can turn it off by flipping that switch down. So in the intro clip of this video, I was using the Mesa Badlander. Now, a lot of people who have tried the Mesa Badlander say that it doesn't have enough low end for their taste. I personally think that it has just enough for my tastes. And I always kind of would like to have had the ability to add more just in case I have a guitar that's light on low end, just in case I'm going into a cab that's light on low end. Well, now I can do that because I have the depth pedal. So we are on the Crunch channel. I am boosting the amp out front with a Mesa Grid Slammer, and I have my Dunnable DE R2 here. We are going into a Randall all birch 212 cabinet with vintage 30s loaded into it, SM57 on the V30s. The pedal is off. I'm gonna flip the amp on and I'm gonna play, and then I'm gonna flip the pedal on, which right now we only have the depth engaged, and I'm gonna show you just how much of a difference it can make in the low end. Massive difference, absolutely massive difference. It adds, not only does it add some low end punch, but it adds some lower frequencies into the amp that aren't really there. The Badlander definitely has more of a focus in you know, the upper low frequencies as opposed to something like a rectifier where it's just got a ton of lows basically covering the spectrum. Throwing this pedal in the loop immediately makes it much punchier. And again, we have the presence circuit turned off. So if I had an amp that I felt was a little dull on top, we're gonna pull the presence out of this a little bit. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and flip that presence circuit on. And as you can tell, even having that presence set right around noon, it adds some really nice high-end frequencies that kind of do the blanket off the speakers effect on the amp, and I love that. There are a couple of amps like the Splon Quick Rod, for example, where when you pull the treble down and the presence up in order to kind of, you know, fatten the voicing up a little bit, it still seems to be lacking some of those higher frequencies, and this presence is set just in the right frequency range where I could throw that in the loop of the Quick Rod, dial in a little bit more presence from the pedal, and all of a sudden, like, every issue that I had with the amp is now gone. And the same is for this Mesa Badlander. It sounds incredible in the loop. Let's check out the range on the depth real quick. I'm just gonna kind of dial through it as I'm chugging. Again, that is a ton of low end this thing is adding. Let's turn it off just for reference. And again, it's also adding that nice top end bite too. Dude, I'm so happy that this exists. This makes me really happy. Can you tell it makes me happy? It makes me pretty happy. All right, so let's check it out. I've got a Rockerverb 50 Mark II here, and I've got a Peavey Triple X. Let's check it out in these two amps to see basically how we can shape these amps with this pedal in the loop and add what I think is missing on both of these things. All right, guys, so we are now in the Rockerverb 50 Mark II. Here's the amp with no pedal. I've always felt that this amp kind of is missing a good low end punch. It's got low end, but it's not punchy in the low end. Let's see if this pedal can fix it. What a difference, seriously. It's, yes. I've wanted this pedal for so long, and I'm so glad that it exists, and it exists from a company that can actually build it and get it out to its customers. That makes me super happy. Big difference here. Again, let's turn that treble down on the amp. So if you wanted to go for more of that cocktail mid-voicing thing, we can turn the pedal on and we can flip the presence on. So dialing the treble down on this amp widens out the mids, and it gives it more of a, basically just a little bit of a fatter voicing. And I've always found that I kind of liked it a little bit on the fatter side, but then you lose some of that top end clarity because there's no ability to dial the presence in. There is no presence or resonance or depth control on the orange, and putting this pedal in the loop of this amp just makes such a big difference. Like it makes the amp punchier. It gives you the ability to make it a little bit fatter by dialing that treble down and adding some presence, so you still have that top end clarity. Super awesome. Finally, let's go over to the Peavey Triple X and see how it works on this amp. All right, guys, so last but not least, we are into the loop of the Triple X, and we are on the crunch channel here, which is not a crunch channel at all. But if you are familiar with this amp, it has an active EQ circuit, and when you dial the controls, they're all interactive. So on this amp, it doesn't have a ton of low end unless you really kind of boost that bottom up. And when you do, it just kind of fattens the amp up and makes it sound just kind of woofy and not in a great way. And also there's no presence control. So the treble control on here is very, very touchy, and there's only a really slim area where it works if you kind of dial everything in traditionally with the controls somewhere around noon. And therefore it's really hard to balance out the treble with the mids and lows in order for everything to kind of be more balanced. So I have it dialed in a way right now that basically it's not very balanced. But once you engage the Quebec pedal, it really just brings everything to life perfectly. So here it is without the pedal, and then I will engage the pedal. All right, guys, so that is the Quebec pedal from Guptech. What did you guys think about this thing? Do you think that it is as useful as I think it is? I think that this is going to be on my pedal board in use with a lot of different amplifiers, and I think it could have saved a lot of amplifiers that I didn't really like had I have owned it at the time that I owned those amps. So I'm really happy that this exists. I'm really happy that Guptech was willing to work with me and sent me one, and I'm really happy that they were cool enough to send one for you guys. So in order to win this pedal, here's what I want you to do. I'm gonna post a pedal of this picture on my Instagram. So go over to my Instagram and follow me. And on the picture of this pedal, I want you to drop a comment and tell me what amp you think that this would be most useful in. And I want you to tag Guptech in that comment. I will post that picture directly after this video goes live, so you guys can head over to my Instagram and you can drop that comment, and I'm going to give it 48 hours for you guys to follow me and drop a comment, and then I will plug all of your Instagram handles into a random selector program, and I will send it to whoever is selected. Now, I have to keep this to only the United States and Canada because with my UPS account, it is really difficult and expensive for me to be able to ship this overseas. So I apologize, guys. This is gonna be US and Canada entry only. Hopefully in the future, we can do more giveaways that are gonna be international, but for now, that's how it's gotta be. So you have 48 hours to get in on the giveaway. You better go over there and do it so you have a chance to win this awesome pedal. Thanks again so much to Guptech for sending this out to me in order to demo for you guys. And thank you guys for watching the video. Kyle here again. We'll see you next time. You know what this wall is missing? Another amp. There we go.